Hello, I'm Sophia.
And hey, I'm Kristin, and we are
Under the Barbell.
Over the Bullshit.
And we're a podcast for women who are sick of being told to just eat less, move more, and what they really want is to get strong, take up space, feel confident, and age well.
That's what we're all about, empowering women to live for more than a before and after photo.
So, wherever you are, grab a coffee or a pre-workout and hit play, because your anti-diet culture BFFs have arrived. Hello.
Hey-o.
Hey, hi, hello, you bobbers.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good, I'm all right. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I have a headache today.
Oh, no.
But I'm okay. Yeah, I didn't sleep great. Well, I mean, in fairness, I went to bed very, very late.
How
I was
late
doing
this time? 4? Again?
Yeah, it was about 3:40. Yeah, 3:30, 3:45. And so what happened was I
Holy
was up
shit.
late writing programming, especially when my powerlifters are entering a new block. That tends to take me a lot longer to write programming, because what I usually do, like, I have it saved, like a general structure of it saved, but then I go in and I like review it, and I'm like, what did I not like last time, or what did I love? What can I change? What's
Yeah.
great? So it's 12 weeks. It's 3 4-week blocks. And so times 4 workouts, it ended up being 48 workouts that I had to review.
Holy shit.
Because they're all different, because it's for them, like, because of the way the weight progresses through the 4
Yeah.
weeks, so it changes. So they're not all just the same thing.
Yep.
So so I had to go through and do all that, and then once I drop it into that specific person's account, then I had to go in and tweak it specifically for them, like what
Oh, sure.
deficits are they working on, or what mobility things are we doing, all of that. So
Yeah.
I was up really late just doing that, and then because I was up late doing that, even when I went to bed around 2:45, so that wasn't quite as bad. But then I was just like laying there wide awake, because like I never really had any good wind down. And so it was entirely my own problem. But what happened was, I mean, aside from just going to bed late, and this happened, I don't know if I ever told you this, because this happened when we were at the Arnold. It happened, I want to say it was that night, maybe it was the next day after my meet. It might have been on, my meet was Sunday, so it might have been on Monday. I think it was Monday. I was getting the worst freaking cramps in my lower leg, like on the outside of like my shin, it's like the tibialis, but like like out here.
Yeah.
So I lift my leg up in the camera, and it was cramping really and pulling really hard, and it literally pulls my foot up, like involuntarily. My foot is coming up. There's no way I could have walked if I had tried. It was the worst pain I recall ever experiencing.
Oh my God.
And it would go really hard, and I'm like trying to massage it and whatever, and it would start to go away, and my foot would kind of relax a little bit, and then it would happen again. It was like these spasms. It was crazy. And then I thought, I really hadn't been eating or drinking a lot. So I was like, maybe, is it dehydration? Maybe, I don't know. And then luckily, because we got all those like free crap at the Arnold.
Oh, yeah.
So we had some like electrolyte drinks. I'm like, give me one of those things. And so I drank it along with like just a bunch of like, I had several bottles of water, and it did eventually finally go away. And I was like, that was crazy. I never had that happen before. I don't know what the hell. And it happened this morning. Woke me up out of my dead sleep, and it was my right leg, and like my foot was like stuck up here, and it was like, it hurt. I cannot tell you how bad this hurts. And luckily my husband was up and moving around. He was just about to leave for work, and he was like, what's going on? He's just like staring at me like, I don't know what to do. And I told him, I'm like, it's the same pain I had at the Arnold. And so I asked him for my my Stanley, and when he handed it to me, because I had it out on my dining room table, and when he handed it to me, it like startled me how heavy it was. I'm like, oh, I'd hardly drank any water yesterday, because I always fill it up in the morning.
Yeah.
And theoretically it should be empty, right? Like presumably, or unless I refilled it, but I know I didn't refill it yesterday, and it was still heavy. Like it was still pretty full. I'm like, oh shit. And
Yeah.
so then he came in, and we always have Gatorade here for my son he's running and whatever.
Mhm.
So he brought me Gatorade, and I chugged that whole freaking Gatorade bottle, and it worked. It went away, but I
Yeah.
was like, I guess like dehydration is what does this, but I've never had that happen
Oh, yeah.
before. And then I Googled, I was like, okay, is it like as we get older, as women get older, as hormones change, is like electrolytes an issue? Because this has only happened just in these
Oh,
last
I'm
couple of months.
sure.
I thought maybe there's something with like, I don't know, like I'm on estrogen blockers, like maybe there's something there. And I didn't get to read a whole ton about it just because we were about to get on. But they did say that, yeah, both men and women, as we
Mhm.
age, you have to watch like electrolytes. And I was
Also,
like,
you
oh,
said you haven't really eaten a whole lot, so you're not gonna be getting that from food either. Like, so sometimes, you can
yeah,
get away with not having, like, an electrolyte supplement or whatever, but if you're
yeah.
also not eating.
Right, and that's funny because I thought about we went out to dinner last night, and I got this big ass oh my god, it was so good. This big ass barbecue baked potato.
Yum.
It had, like, barbecue chicken in it, and it was, like, loaded, the cheese, the sour cream, the everything in it. And we also got what are they called? We call them tachos. I don't know what they're actually,
Ta
but, like, tater tots
Yes,
with, like
tachos.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So we also had that, and I'm like, so I feel like there would have been, like, salt and
At least
sodium and stuff
sodium,
in all
yeah.
of that, and I ate quite a bit of it. Even the waitress, because those potatoes are so big, even the waitress came out, she goes, "I'm actually impressed." I was like, "You know what? I am too," as
Yeah.
a matter of fact. So, like, I was like, "Okay, I ate all of that for dinner last night,"
Yeah.
and, I don't know, whatever, but I definitely
Rude.
did not have enough water, and so I think that is probably the source of my headache too, and I keep looking at myself, like, my bags are extra bad under my eyes today, but that's probably dehydration and sleep.
Yeah.
Not sleeping much. So I'm like, sorry, anyone watching YouTube right now, if I look like The Walking Dead with these
I I
like, the more
actually
I lean in, the more you kinda
Oh,
see
I
them.
actually noticed it, but I don't wanna be I
Mhm.
hate when people are like, "Oh, you look so tired today," or "You look"
Yeah.
it's like, "Oh, thanks." Like,
Yeah.
do I look like
Gee,
shit?
thanks.
Yeah, like, and I mean, we all have that, and I think
Yeah.
for me too, actually, when I cry a lot or when I just don't get a lot of sleep, you can see it a lot more, it gets puffier.
Mhm.
So, like, I mean, you don't know what someone's going through if you see bags under their
Right.
eyes. I mean, it could be lack
Yep.
of sleep, it could be other things, I don't know,
Could
so,
be anything else. It
yeah.
could just be the fact that you're 47 years old and you just have bags under your eyes. But then they get extra prominent, when things
Yeah.
like this are going on.
Oh
So
my
that's
gosh. Drink your
that's
water,
my
drink your
drama
electrolytes.
for the day. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna be for sure chugging more water
Yeah.
today. What you got going
Well,
on?
I thought I should update people and you on my whole Olympic weightlifting journey that I've been
Yes,
on.
I meant to ask. I'm so glad. Yeah, how's
I
it
totally
going?
forgot about that till today. It's like God, it's a really frustrating journey, and because like
Oh.
I'm learning. So I've done dumbbell clean and snatches and kettlebell. So like I am
Mhm,
totally used to that form, but with the barbell, it's a little different, I would say,
mhm.
and I'm not used to using I always use my hips when I'm using a dumbbell or a kettlebell, but it's different, and I think I'm overthinking it because I know
Um,
people always talk about, like, you do from the bottom, and then once you get past your knees, like, you use your hips and you shrug up and then underneath of it, but I'm
yeah.
struggling with keeping the bar close to my body and also just the flow, the entire flow of like,
Mm,
everything, the pattern, the form, the technique of doing all of it, like, not all at once, but almost all at once, and I'm
yeah.
tripping myself up because I know people hit their hips with the bar because you're so close to it. It's almost like a deadlift. Like I'm so used to hitting the bar with my shins and just keeping it close to my
Yeah.
body, but some people struggle with that. And so it's similar to that, I feel like, because I'm overthinking it because I'm trying to hit my hips and use my hips. So I'm trying to hit bar to my hips, but then the form gets all messed up, and, like, sometimes I get it, and there's times when I'll watch videos or form videos, and I will visualize myself doing it, and then it happens, it works, and
Mhm.
I am able so some reps are pretty solid, some reps are not. Kiana tries to push she says I should be able to lift heavier when I do it, which I know I can lift heavier, but it's like I'm trying to
Yeah.
practice with less weight and get the
Like,
form down. So,
right.
yeah, so it's fun and I'm enjoying it, but it is a very frustrating process because I get
Mm,
mad at myself. I'm like, "Why can't I just fucking do this?" I'll start crying.
right.
There's been times when I've, like, started crying because 'cause I'm so frustrated.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. Sometimes honestly, like, the times well, never mind. That's this. Everything that's about to come out of my mouth is a complete lie anymore. Old Kristen, the only time I would cry is when I'm pissed off or frustrated. Like
Mm,
those would be the only time. Now I cry at
all the
everything.
time. Yeah.
All the time. Doesn't matter.
Mhm.
But yeah, it used to be that yeah, it's just when I get frustrated, it's like I don't know what else to do and it just comes out in
Yeah.
tears because
Yeah.
I'm just like, "Ugh."
Yeah.
Could it be to Kiana's point, could it be one of those things where if you did put a little more weight on it, it might be
That's what
easier
she
to
says,
get it?
yes. But
Yeah,
it's
because
still my brain is not it's like my brain and my body, I can see it and I can visualize it, but then actually doing it, sometimes my brain and my body doesn't mesh, doesn't like correlate, doesn't
yeah.
compute to actually doing it. But I see what she's saying, but it's still difficult because I'm trying to I need to keep it close to my body and I'm overthinking it. So, yeah, so it's getting better, but
Are you able to break down, like, just, like, small parts of the movement to, like, repeat, like, just the keep it close and then you know what I mean? Like, I don't know
yeah.
anything about Olympic lifting, so who knows what the hell I'm talking about, but is
Yeah.
that a thing, like, where you
Yeah.
can just work on a certain section of the lift?
Yeah,
I
and
don't
I
know.
have done that where I break it down from like there's one video I watched where it's like from all the way from the bottom and you come up like mid shin, like just below the knees, and then doing it and getting and cleaning it up. And but then also Kiana and I've done so anytime I've practiced before when other people have tried to show me, you do this thing where like you're holding the bar while standing and you're just doing the hips with the
Yeah,
shrug.
I've seen that,
Yeah, and that
yeah.
even is still like yeah, I don't know, it's like confusing to my brain and body to do that. So, but yes, that's something that I
Yeah.
should also do in practice. And I know some people teach it, like coaches and trainers will teach it with a PVC pipe. I just don't have one, so
Mhm.
maybe I need to find like a broomstick or
Oh,
something just to get. Because I feel like if
yeah.
I do that, the repetition with that, and
Mhm.
then go to the bar, like I think that could help. But
Yeah, that's a good idea.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah. It's just a whole different way of moving, I feel like,
it
compared
totally
to what
is.
we're used to doing.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yes.
it's not just lifting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's so technical.
Yeah, and when I try and do a snatch, oh my god, like, and even doing overhead squats, I know my mobility isn't the greatest, but, like, getting the form of the snatch so maybe doing dumbbell and kettlebell snatches and cleans actually have hindered my progress with this because I'm
Mm,
so used to doing that. Like, it is the same
yeah.
movement, but also it's just different. I don't know. So, yeah, when I practice a snatch, that's really, really difficult for me. Like, I'm starting to get the hang of the clean and, like, the clean to a squat, but the snatch is getting I need to practice that more. And I
Yeah.
really but this also reminds me like well, there was one time I tried a taekwondo or kickboxing class and I also got super frustrated. And that's when it clicked for me that when people come in and they're super new to fitness and exercise,
Mm,
they this must be how they feel. Like sometimes when they can't do a proper hinge or a squat or it just feels awkward and
yeah.
weird, like it can be frustrating at times. So I mean I'm also putting myself through that so that way I can better understand and just like relate to
Yeah.
people more in that sense. But yeah,
Yeah.
so
Helps
it's
keep you honest because
yes.
sometimes, we get yeah, I hinge in particular. I find teaching a hinge is but, like, some people just naturally do it, and
Mhm.
but then other people,
I've had to try
it
so many
is
different ways, and some people it
oh,
clicks after,
man.
like, 1 or 2 different, but sometimes
Mhm.
you have to try yeah, I
Yeah.
have one client who someone asked me about a cable Romanian deadlift, and I was like, "Oh, I
Mhm.
actually haven't done that in a while," because she was like, "Well, what's the difference between that and barbell and dumbbell?" And I was like, "Let me just, like, do some research here and look this up," because I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure, actually, and I saw that it can be something that can help teach a hinge. So I tried it with a client who's been struggling to hinge. I'd feel it in her hamstrings and glutes. And we did the cable Romanian deadlift and she got it. But this was after
Oh,
I had tried literally everything with this girl to try and get her to hinge and feel it in the back of her legs there.
yeah.
And this was the thing. So yeah, sometimes you just have to try different cues, different
Yeah.
things. But yeah, the hinge is a hard one
That's
to coach and to
the
teach.
trickiest one for sure, and that's the one where I see people get frustrated. Like,
Yes.
because we feel like we're like I'm pulling out every trick in the book and they know. They're fully
Yeah.
aware that they can't do it and I'm pulling out every trick in
And
the
they
book, you
feel
know what I
dumb
mean? So,
probably
yeah,
and just like yeah,
exactly, exactly, and you can see, their
yeah.
frustration or, that's also, like, they'll start making comments, like the kind of the self-deprecating kind of going,
Yes.
"Oh, I can't, I suck," all that stuff.
Yeah,
And I'm
sorry
like,
I suck
no,
or
yeah,
yeah. Mhm.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
So
So that's what I got.
anyway, well, you keep on working. So are you working with that coach that you had
So
met with?
not yet. I'm trying to figure my schedule out because it's just I don't even know
Mm,
when I'd be able to go see him because
yeah,
he's
right.
also not in my area. Like he's in the Sioux Falls area, but it's actually in T, which is a town outside of Sioux Falls, and that's
Yeah.
way on the other side of where I am. So
Oh,
it's like
yeah, that's tricky.
trying to figure out a time to go see him. Maybe I just do it like once a month if I can get in, maybe on a
Mhm.
Saturday or something. But yeah, I'm trying to just get my schedule and like some things in line with that and also my budgeting. I've been trying to focus on that a little bit more.
Mhm.
So I no, I have not gone back to see him yet, but I still want to because I think it'll be helpful to get someone in person to just help me with some of these
Yeah.
things. I'm just gonna keep practicing. That's why I keep the mindset of like it's practice. Like, I'm just gonna keep practicing. Remind myself it's a
Yeah.
skill, it's a technique I'm not used to at all,
Mhm.
but it's fun. Like it's still fun for me to do. I enjoy doing it and learning it. And once I get the hang of it a few times, I'm like, oh yes, that was a good one. Like that was a good rep.
Yep.
You know?
It's exciting, and then it's
Yeah.
always exciting. Like that's what
Yes.
keeps you going.
Yeah.
I One of my clients slash friends, she's a power lifter, and in her powerlifting belt is like personalized, like embroidered and stuff. And real small, right near the lever, she has the word yet. And that's like always her thing. It's like her growth mindset
Ooh, I
thing. Like
like that.
anytime when she's just like, I can't get this. And then she stops and she goes, yet. I'll get
Yes.
it. And so like she
Ooh.
always adds yet to the end of those like frustrating moments. And I'm like, that is super
I
powerful,
like
you
that.
know?
Yes, that really is. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I'm gonna use that.
Yep. It's a good one.
Yeah.
And also on the inside of her belt, it says, "That's what she said." I don't know if you wanna use it.
That's what she said.
It goes like, literally, these are both these 2, like, the super insightful thing, and then
Oh
"That's
my
what she
god,
said"
that's
on
funny.
the same belt,
Yeah.
on her same belt. It's
Nice.
funny.
That's hilarious.
Oh, alright. Do you have a quote
Yeah,
for
I
today?
do. Let's see. I frantically totally forgot. So right before this, I was searching. Let's see. Ooh, I like this one. Okay, I'm just going through. I on Instagram, I whenever I see quotes and there's one or two, I like instantly save it. And then there's always it's
Mm,
like a thread of like 20 different quotes.
yeah.
But this one, if you're persistent, you'll get it. If you're consistent, you'll keep it. If you're grateful, you'll attract more of it.
Oh, there you
I know,
go.
that's
That's
cute.
perfect for even, like, your Olympic
Oh,
lifting
that's
thing,
true. Oh, that's true. That's a
you
good point.
know?
Yes.
That works. That
Yes.
works.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm like I mentioned before, I am running low on the feminist shirts. I do have a couple more. My boys got me for Mother's Day, but I need to wash it first, and then because like you didn't know, like I cut up all of my things,
Yeah.
and but I don't cut anything until I wash it first because they might shrink and stuff. So, it just hasn't been washed. It's like in my hamper for like a week now, but or 2 weeks. I don't even know how long it's been. But anyway, so I was like going through all of my stuff. I'm like, what have I not worn? And this is adjacent, but like it's Team Stormy because we went and saw Stormy Daniels comedy show. I don't know. Last month, maybe it was. I don't know. And so she is. Do you know who Stormy Daniels is?
No.
She was a porn star, director, all of that, like super widely known and lots of awards in that particular industry. I don't know anything about that, but that's where she was. But she's
Sure,
the
sure,
one
sure. No, I'm
who
kidding.
she's the one who, I mean, if I did, I really, well, I would say I wouldn't care, but I really don't know.
That's true.
Um, but she is the one who got got Donald Trump charged and all of that. So
Oh,
she, because
okay, okay.
they had a encounter, if you will, and she got hush money from his lawyer, and then it became the like main. I'm trying to remember the specifics, but it became like the main point in his trial around like some shady dealings, business dealings, and even like campaign funds and all that kind of stuff. And so she's like basically, like they say, like she's the only one so far who's been able to successfully get him charged and
Oh.
convicted of stuff. Yeah. So she is she has a comedy show. Like she travels around the country and does this comedy show. And so they were in Nashville. I think I want to say it was in April, maybe beginning or middle of April. And we went and saw her, and she's actually really funny. She's very like I wouldn't say dry necessarily, but I think what it is, not so much that it's dry humor, but it's that she's just a person. She's not like a
Mm-hmm.
practiced stand-up comedian. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so she's literally like she just goes up there and just tells stories about things that have happened in life. She talked a lot about her daughter, stuff like that. And I mean,
Nice.
she's pretty funny, and she's got a hell of a experiences in her life, to
Yeah.
pull from and to talk about. And yeah, it was just pretty cool. And so it's like not super feminist, but
But a little bit. It's like,
adjacent.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we're, we don't I think there's something to be said for in the feminist line of thinking about supporting women who choose to do maybe something like in the adult industry, because
Yeah.
okay, like that doesn't affect. I don't give a shit if that's
Right.
as long as you're choosing it, as long
Yes.
as there's consent and it's a choice, like
Yeah.
whatever, girl, get that
Exactly.
bag,
Get
man.
that
Whatever.
money.
Have
Yeah.
at it. Yeah. So anyway, so that's that.
Love it. I'll have to look up some of her stuff and see.
Yeah, they wouldn't like we had to like put phones, like hide phones and all of that because she's got a special coming out, I guess, soon. So
Oh.
it's hard to find anything because we actually tried to look it up, like some YouTube stuff ahead of time to see if we would even enjoy her humor
Yeah.
before we bought the tickets. And I couldn't find hardly anything. And then when we got there, that's how we found out why is there's nothing up because everything is like super hush hush at the moment because they've been
Mm.
filming all of it for her stand up
Oh, that's
for
cool though.
a special. I don't know if it's come like streaming, I assume. I don't know,
I'll
but
have
yeah,
to
so I
watch
don't know.
that.
That'll be out at some point. You can watch it whenever it comes out. Who knows?
Nice.
So all right, let's talk about this episode. I think this should be a pretty like quick and to the point
And
one,
fun.
and yeah, and a
Informative.
fun one. And
Yep.
I'm actually excited about like the format of this because this has like endless possibilities as far as future
Yes. Oh
episodes
yeah.
and stuff like
We'll
that,
be
and I
doing it
think
again.
super helpful for a lot of people. So basically, what the plan is, and we haven't even given it really a name yet, what we're going to call this, but
Yeah.
we're essentially going to talk about each of us chose an exercise, and we chose one that has different variations of that exercise, and upper body and lower body. And then we're just pretty much going to talk, like, kind of compare and contrast the different variations, why you might use them, what do they target, stuff like that. And then hopefully it can help people if you're either like trying to like build your own workout, maybe, or even if you have one of these exercises in your program, you might learn about a different variation of it that you
Yes.
think maybe might work better for you or something like that.
Or
So,
even just
yeah.
not knowing like, oh, what's it? Because so mine is the lunges, and I had a client ask me, what's the difference between a reverse lunge, a forward lunge, and a walking lunge? And so if you have something like that in your workouts, and you're like, well, I wonder what the
Mhm.
difference is between X, Y, Z. Well,
Mhm.
this is gonna be a really good opportunity. And if you ever want to have us go through a specific exercise that you're curious about,
Yeah.
send us a DM and let us know
Yeah.
because we totally will do that. And
Yeah,
also
for
keep in mind
sure.
too, we specifically and purposely chose a lower body exercise and an upper body exercise because this can just be your workout. If you want to do
Mhm.
either all of these variations, I wouldn't recommend that, but like maybe one variation that we talk about for each, and it's a lower and an upper that you can do in a day.
Mhm.
Boom, got your
Yep,
workout.
to help with like full body. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So, all right. Well, since you already mentioned your lunges, why don't you go ahead and tell us what you got? So you made a post on it because that client asked you, right? You made
Yes.
a post about it, and
Yes.
then so that's also up on your Instagram if anybody wants to go check that out.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
So yeah, where do I even want to start with this? So I will say too that with lunges, so I didn't talk about this in my post, but I wanted to bring it up. And if you are new to lunging, the form of a lunge, no matter what kind it is, I'm going to talk about reverse, forward, and walking. But if you're trying to practice the form of just that lunge motion and movement, I always start my people off with doing a split squat, which is a squat, but essentially it's like the same movement, going like lunging
Mhm.
down and coming back up. And the reason for that is because I found for the majority of people, it's if you've never done that before, we need to start with the very basic and foundation of the movement of lunging down, lunging up, lunging down, lunging
Yep.
up, not moving your feet because that creates some more balance and instability and improving stability, which is great. But we want to get that movement mechanic down first,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah,
Is that
you wanna
true
be
for
able to go
you?
down. Yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
agree with that. I usually do split squats before I do lunges
Yeah.
for sure. I think it just kinda helps, like, even just sometimes, especially if it's someone who's new, they may not even necessarily have enough strength to really do a solid full range of
Correct.
motion lunge. So, being able to
Yes.
start with split squats where they don't have to worry about the feet moving, all they're focusing on is, like, let's try to see if we can get the knee down,
Yes.
and then how to push through the front foot to come back up and,
Yes.
all of that kinda stuff. I think I find that that's, a much, more comfortable, I guess,
Yes.
place to start, and then once that strength is there, then we can talk about
The next
the
step.
moving back and yeah, the feet moving.
Yeah. Yeah. And like having to
Yeah.
push yourself back or having to push yourself forward is a lot harder to do too than just
Mhm.
like focusing on the split squat. Another
Yes.
one that I didn't put in the post, but I wanted to bring up is utilizing a TRX or like a table, the wall. Like if you need that extra support
Right.
holding on to it, not like leaning on it, you want to make sure that we're balanced. Or I've
Yeah.
even had clients, if you have access to those handlebar things, I don't know what they're called. They're like they're not hurdles, but they're like bam,
Oh,
bam,
yeah, I
bam.
know what you
Hold it.
mean,
Do you know what
like
I'm
the
talking about?
yeah, yeah,
I don't
and
know what
people,
they're
like, do
called.
them and, like, lift themselves up. I
Yeah.
don't know what they're called either, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about, yeah.
So that would be that you can
Um,
use that too for just
yeah. Another thing on that same idea is, sometimes I'll just get a heavy band and loop it through like a
oh,
pull-up bar, and then you just hold the band, and
yes.
I like the band too, similar to the TRX because it's not super rigid, like, you still have to learn to stabilize yourself, but it just gives that little bit of
Yes.
extra something to kinda help keep you there.
Yes. I like that
Yeah.
idea. Love it. All right. So first, let's see. I'm gonna start with the reverse lunges. So a lot of times that's the next step for me. Someone learns the form
Mhm.
utilizing a split squat, then we oftentimes go into the reverse lunge. Number one, it's usually a lot more beginner friendly. It's just a little bit easier to do. It's easier to learn for sure. From what I found, easier for the person to learn if you're new to lunging. Also, if you have discomfort or pain in your knees at all, usually reverse lunges can help. Also, slightly hinging forward a little bit can help because that puts a little bit, I can usually have people target the glute just a little bit more
Mhm.
versus quad and knee. So sometimes that helps if you want to hinge forward slightly, but usually that is a little bit easier for people with knee pain or discomfort. And it's also easier to control, especially when you start to add weights than when we're doing a forward lunge, for the most part, from what I found with people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then let's see. Oh, and that target. So obviously with lunges, like we're working the whole leg, the glutes, the quads, the hamstrings. They're all working together, right? The
Mhm.
core. But with reverse lunge, and also I think whether we hinge forward or you're upright, you can target more of the glute or the quad. But with the reverse lunge, it targets just a little bit more of glute and hamstring, and then obviously the core with that. So anything you want to add? Also, it's really good for working on balance, which all of these are. But yeah,
Yeah, they all are. Yeah. No, I think you pretty much covered everything I was thinking about it.
noise.
Just mainly, like you said, use them early on,
Yep.
like one of the first ones to like introduce the idea of moving, and then definitely people with knee issues.
Yep.
That's always a go-to.
Yep. And then I always will, because with this, you could do a weight in each hand, which is usually where I start people. But then eventually you can maybe just do one side where you're holding a dumbbell and focusing
Hmm.
on that, the like core instability, I
Yeah.
guess, from the left to the right side.
Yeah, having like one side heavier than the other.
Yep.
And I will do sometimes. I think maybe less with lunges. I think maybe I do it more with split squats. But if you're holding it in the opposite hand, so you have if your left leg is forward, you're holding the dumbbell in your right hand, and then doing the split squat. But if you can get just a slight twist toward that working leg, that really works on that hip mobility
Yes.
and all of that stuff. I have a lot of my people, and myself included, we have a lot of hip issues in our group. I think I just have a lot of, my clients are very, like a lot of them are professionals and things like that. So I think there's just, a lot of sitting sometimes with work and
Yes.
things. And so that's one of the ones that I like to give a lot that really seems to help with hip mobility and stability a little bit with
I like that.
just that one dumbbell.
Yes, that's a good idea. And also I'll sometimes like do a racked position or kettlebells. You can get a
Yeah.
lot. You can get overhead. We can do
Yeah.
overhead holding with weight. You can go in the racked position. Like there's a barbell.
Yeah.
You could do barbell. Like I won't get super into that, but just to throw that in there, like there's different ways to
Yeah.
utilize the weights depending on. That's more like once you're progressing after you get past that like
Yeah.
beginner stage. Not that beginner stage is bad by any means, but once you learn the
Yeah, but
form and things like that. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. So then next, so for the most part, after someone progresses to reverse lunge, I will actually progress them to walking lunge before the forward lunge. And I guess it just
Mm.
depends on the person, but
Mm.
a lot of times the forward lunge is just harder for more people than the walking lunge. And I don't know if it's because like we walk on a day-to-day basis, but the
Maybe.
forward, you're going forward and then you're pushing back. We don't ever do that motion really day to day unless you're
Right.
standing up and then
Yeah.
you're pushing back. I don't know. It just seems to be one that's more challenging for the people that I've worked with anyway.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah. So with the walking lunge, of course, again, this targets overall muscles, legs, all of that, your core. But now we bring in more of an emphasis on coordination, balance, and stability. Yes, with all of those, but I think with walking lunges, it just adds another element because you're walking forward with it. And sometimes I'll have my people step, like do that lunge, take a step, gain your balance, take that lunge, step.
Mhm.
But then like kind of that next progression is just to walk right on through. So you're do that walking lunge
Yeah.
forward, walking lunge forward, and get it that way. It also kind of adds intensity and brings the heart rate up a little bit. I think lunges in general,
Yeah.
as you start to add heavier weights, it'll bring the heart rate up before
Yeah.
walking specifically. I feel like that really gets the heart rate and
Agreed.
intensity up a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So then it builds up a little bit more like muscular endurance and conditioning. You can kind of, whether it's body weight or
Mhm.
you start to add weight again, just working on that conditioning there. So
Yep.
anything else you want to add in for walking lunge?
Um, no, no.
Yeah.
I mean, that pretty much covers it. Just when you were talking about like the heart rate and conditioning, it made me think like sometimes I will sometimes give like little mini like shots of hit at the
Oh
ends of
yeah.
workouts. So like, might only be like, or maybe it's like Tabata. I don't know what the technical term is because they get kind of used interchangeably, but basically just like, a certain amount of working time and then a short little bit of rest time and then
Tabata.
back to working. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was like. I feel like maybe that's kind of, yeah, whatever. But like we used to Tabata, but then like somebody told me, and it was someone at the gym and they probably just didn't know what they were talking about, but they said something about how like Tabata is specifically like certain time periods. Like it has to be like, it has to be 8 rounds and it has to be, I don't know if it was 20 seconds.
Mm,
Whatever it was. I don't
yeah.
remember what they said. So then I was like, okay, well, maybe that's not what I'm doing. Maybe I'm sure. I don't know what the hell. But anyway, I don't like just to give it for the sake of giving it. So we always try to have it be also strength. So tie
Oh
into that.
yes.
So like
Yes.
walking lunges, like especially like at our gym where we train, it's like if you can do like walking lunges down to the end of the turf and then, 10, 15 seconds rest, then, into do something else or walk back or whatever. Like it's just,
Mhm.
it gives you that little bit of recovery that just for sanity's sake, because it does, man, that should get your heart rate
Yeah.
going. Those legs are just a big muscle group,
Oh yeah.
so
Yes.
like that's why seems to take so much more out of your increased heart rate, even like squats
Yes.
and stuff
Oh
sometimes.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but that's anyway, that's a good one to use for if you're doing anything like that where it's like heart rate. The the goal is heart rate, but you want it to be strength too.
Yes, I like
That's
that.
what we do.
Yep, yep. And also with walking lunges, I will sometimes have people like slightly step out to the side a little bit more, like because you can do it
Mm.
like out to the side a little bit more versus like straight on, straight on. So if someone's
Yeah.
really struggling with balance and stability, I'm like, okay, just step out a tad more, and that'll help because then we can work
Yeah.
on just going like straight out from our bodies.
Yes. Dude, that's such a good, because I even had this. Someone else had to tell me what I was doing wrong. I mean, this was years ago.
Yeah.
But and so like I know other people do it because I was doing it too. And it was before I was a coach, but it was like I had been lifting for a while. Like you would think I would have known, but I didn't. The way they described it to me, and it's the way I describe it to everybody, is they were like, you're walking on a tightrope. And that's why you are like losing your balance, because you're trying to walk on a tightrope, but you want to walk on the train tracks. And so rather than trying to like lunge forward with the one foot in front of the other, you want to be a little wider so that it's like you're walking
That's a good
each foot on
analogy.
like the edge of the train tracks instead of on a tightrope.
I like
And when
that.
I started doing that, I was like, oh, I'm not falling over anymore. This is great.
Yeah. Yes. I'm gonna use that. That's a good analogy.
Mhm.
And then same thing too with the weights. We can hold 2 dumbbells at your sides. We can be in the racked position. You can go overhead. You can go single arm. I've also had people do where they hold a weight at the bottom one side and you're just doing the opposite. Like so I lunge forward with my left, step together, lunge forward with my left, step together, but the
Mhm.
weight is like on
Oh,
one
I
side or
see.
racked or I
Yeah.
guess overhead. Yeah. So just to
Yeah.
throw in some of
I've
that.
had a lot of people that like putting the easy bar on their back to do walking lunges.
Oh,
I've had several people who prefer that.
yeah. Or I mean a barbell, but just because the easy bar is, like, shorter?
It's shorter.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. Yep. And then the last one, forward lunge. Again, like I've said, I feel like this one is the hardest for most people. Everyone's gonna be different, but target's a little bit more quad, but again, if you hinge forward slightly, you can hit the glutes, I think, a little bit more. Have
Mhm.
you, done that before? Like, done where you're upright more versus hinge forward more and getting it in the glute more versus the quad?
Yeah, and for me, it's the length of the stride matters too.
Ah,
Like
yes, I'm glad
if
you talked
I
yes, glad you brought this
yeah,
up.
like if upright chest and a shorter stride gets more quad,
Yes, yes, yes,
and then
yes.
hinge a little and stride a little bigger
Longer?
gets glute. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, I'm so glad you said that. I would not have thought to bring up the
Yeah.
length of the stride. Yes.
Yeah, I the only reason I thought of it was because just last week I was making a video about
Oh my
it. Not even knowing we were gonna be
oh
talking
my god,
about this.
that's funny. Love that. Um, and then this one is higher impact on the knee. So if you have that pain and
Mm,
discomfort, I would say choose one of the other ones, but work up towards doing a forward lunge because that's also really good just
yeah.
functionally to be able to do. And I think that was oh yeah, it's good for working on stability again and then the deceleration
Mhm.
control and then pushing back up. So yeah,
Right.
that's my
Yeah.
overall
Yeah, that's your
intake of
thing. Yeah.
those. Yeah.
Think like anytime you're doing something where like your weight is pushing forward, like in towards that knee, that's when for people who if you don't have knee issues, then don't
Yeah.
avoid it just because of that.
Right.
But
Yes.
for people that do have knee issues, those are the kinds that think about the movements you're doing. If you're doing anything where your weight is going into the knee as you push forward, then that
Yep.
might not feel great.
Yeah.
But anytime you can keep your shin kind of vertical, then that's the forces are not going into the knee, and like the reverse lunge, because your front shin is pretty vertical, perpendicular to the ground. So you're not going to get those forces in the knee. So
Yes.
those are really good. You can like modify squats and things too for the same deal, especially like sissy squats and even
Oh
hack
yeah.
squats. So like maybe not necessarily barbell, like that'd be kind of weird. But
Yeah.
and then the only other thing I was going to mention, just in general, like if you're thinking about building a workout routine, or if you're looking at the workout routine you're doing and you're wondering like, is this good, is it not, lunges are one of those, like, I mean, not many people like them, let's be real,
That's true.
but
I fucking hate
they're
them. But I do
no,
them and they
yeah,
fucking suck.
I don't know many people that are like, yes, I get to do lunges. Like, no, that's not happening. But it is one of those like basic movement patterns for life that we ought
Yes.
to be able to do. And
Yes.
we want to be strong in it because, it's just, yeah, it's just life. But also the thing too, when you're looking at like your program overall, whether it's lunges or split squats or whatever, you should have at least at some point a single leg type exercise like that, like where
Yeah.
most of the work is being done by only one leg versus both legs. Like a squat usually is both legs. So, when you're looking at your programming, you want to make sure, just for imbalances and stuff like that, that some of your exercises do require one leg to work independently from the other. And lunges are a good way to do that,
Yes, that's good, that's good. When I yeah,
unfortunately.
I know, I know. I always, like, that's part of the foundation building, like, I always try like, split squat will be a part of that, but then also making sure that I'm putting in, like, single-sided stuff because, yeah, we can
Yeah.
easily overcompensate,
Mhm.
whether it's lower or
Yeah.
upper body. And also, I was gonna throw in too that, uh, knee over toe is okay.
Yes, thank you. I was thinking it earlier and I forgot to say it.
I had a client
Yes.
just recently, she asked me, she's like, "Well, it's like, okay, like, do I need to have, my knee behind my toe?" And I was like, "No, no, no,
No.
this is like a myth that has been dispelled,
Yeah.
and it's
Yes.
totally okay and actually good for you to do those knee over
Yes.
toe."
100%.
So, yeah.
Um, yeah, I actually it's on my list of reels to make,
Nice.
that I was going to just show, and I was gonna, like, have my husband, like, record, like, up close how many times we just live our life
Yeah.
where our knee is going over our toe
Yes.
all the time. So
Oh,
why are
yeah.
we suddenly saying because you're exercising your knee shouldn't go over your toe? Like that why would
Right.
you not strengthen in a simple range of motion that we use in life? Imagine going downstairs without your knee going over your toe. You're
Right.
gonna
I was
fall
just
on your
gonna say that.
face.
Yeah.
Uh, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Or sitting down in chair, or like getting up. A lot of times you like you might put your feet like, kind of under the chair to like stand yourself up.
Yes.
Just stuff like yeah.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
that I hear that still. That is
Oh,
still
yeah.
on the internet a lot, and it's in like Facebook groups and stuff. Yeah, I'm so
Yep.
glad you said that
Yep.
because that's real.
Yeah, and I mean, even with, like, sissy squats now, your knees go over your toes that way, like, so there's different
Yeah.
so it's yeah, it's totally it is great to do to be able to do that, and the last thing I'll say
Yeah.
about lunges is, because I just thought of a client from years ago that she was an older client, and we get up and down off the ground in a lunge position a lot of the time, or it's one way to be able to get
Yeah.
up and down off the ground. So one thing that you could do if you're wanting to work on
Mm.
that is to hold on to something, a couch, a chair, a bar, whatever, like something for support, and you're all the way down. Like you're in 90 degrees with your legs, your knee is like you are fully on the ground in a half kneeling position, and
Yes.
then lunging up from there, and you're
And then
probably
get up.
yes, and you might have to, use support to push you up, but, like, with the goal of eventually not having to use anything and
Yeah.
such I mean, you could just do that, work on that as your for your workout, and that would be a
Yes, for
solid workout
real.
for just
That's
life.
so good.
Yeah.
And like if you have like if you're not finding yourself in that position, but you have older family members who,
Yeah.
getting up off the floor might be a concern. That's something you can have them do. Like literally sit on the floor, have them work on getting into that kneeling position, and then use some support to help them get up and just rinse
Mhm.
and repeat, man. That's such a yeah, man, that's
It's a skill that yeah, if you
huge.
don't it's one of those things, if you don't utilize and
Can
do
you
it, you will lose it, but I
yeah,
had a client who she was a paramedic, and one of the majority of the calls she got was because people fell on the floor and could not get
I
themselves
can't
back
get
up.
up.
So
That's
it's
so scary.
yeah, it really is. So this is a skill that we all need to have and practice and not lose, unless you wanna lose
Yep.
the ability to simply get up off of the floor.
Yeah, like your independence,
Yes, exactly.
period.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like how do we live independently if we're not strong enough to get ourselves up if we should fall?
yeah, and practice those,
You
like,
know what I
movement
mean?
and mechanics. Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
Yep.
exactly. So,
Yep. Agreed. Great
alright.
point. Okay, upper body. I'm going to talk about bench press and bench press variations, starting with just a regular standard barbell bench press. And I'm actually also going to talk about in a little bit, or maybe I will just talk about them all together. Maybe that's easier. But also close grip and wide grip bench press, because one of the things I find, especially when people are just starting out with the bar, is they tend to hold the bar pretty narrow, like pretty close, like straight up from their shoulders, kind of. And in a standard bench press, we want to get our hands a little bit wider. We should be wider than shoulder width in order to target like the mid chest and stuff. But I do sometimes give close grip bench press, and that's what I tell them. I'm like, sometimes I will specifically want you to do that. So it's not like it's a bad thing or you're not hurting anything if you do that, but it's not going to be the strongest position for your hands if the goal is trying to lift a lot of weight. But close grip is going to target a lot more of your triceps than a regular standard grip will. So think about the size of the muscle even. Your triceps are way smaller than your pecs and your chest muscles. So you're not going to move as much weight, you typically speaking, with a close grip. And then a wide grip is going to get a whole lot more in the chest. And may or may not be great for people with shoulder issues, the wide grip. Sometimes shoulders don't like that so much.
Yeah. I have a client who he has, shoulder issues going on, and we have to do closer. Close, close,
Yeah.
close. He cannot go out wide.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And I just sometimes it just the way the cookie crumbles.
yeah.
But yeah, so like for powerlifting, I try to get my people's like we try to get pinkies on the rings or like about an inch within close to the rings, as long as that's comfortable.
What do you
Then
mean
for us,
rings? Like, if someone's
the
listening,
the
they're
rings
like,
on the bar. Sorry, yeah. There's so if you look at a barbell, way out towards like the collars of the bar, you're gonna see some rings around the bar that are like smooth. Like you have the knurling, like the hard shit that digs into your hands, and then there's like smooth rings on them on each end, on each side. And so we try to get like for me, I just like and sometimes it's hard to see the bar if you have like lights overhead. So I literally like I'm just touching the bar and I'm just feeling with my pinky. Like I'm like,
mhm,
where's the rings? All right, I found them and I know I'm where I want to be. But also, even if you don't necessarily use the rings, like if you're not putting your fingers right on the ring, definitely though use them to compare side to side. So even if
mhm.
say you're doing close grip where you're not going to have your hands as wide as the rings, still look and see like am I have about the same amount of distance on each side of my hands from the ring, because I've seen a lot of people will go to grab but they're way off center on the bar, and then of course that's going to throw off balance and stuff. So the rings are a great sort of like a distance kind of a gauge, I guess
Yeah.
maybe you could call it, to make sure you're grabbing it. But we use deadlifts too is another time we use those rings a lot. But yeah, so for a standard bench press, we try to get about pinkies on the rings or like within an inch or so of the rings. Close grip, we tend to just do like I have them just go straight up from their shoulders, like they just put their arms out like this, and it's like kind of wherever they're grabbing. And I think two, where does it touch on our chest? That's another thing that I see a lot. So a standard barbell bench press, you're generally going to be pretty much mid chest. You want to make sure that your forearm is completely vertical to the floor when you have the bar on your chest. So if like your arms are like angled back at all or angled forward, that's going to throw it, like that's not ideal. Like that's not a good position for strength, but also that can really throw off like your, what do you want to call it? Like the bar path, I guess, or,
Yeah. Well,
just
just
like
like
get
the
you out of
form.
position.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
A lot of times people will tend to hit really high. I think because if they started on dumbbells, sometimes they just kind of do dumbbells really high. And so
Oh,
then when we get under the bar, they're still hitting really high on the chest. But what happens is that makes that like the bar is angling back toward their face. So if you get a good bit of weight on there and
yeah,
they try to push up from way up here, it's a lot more likely to kind of come back
yeah.
on them on their face if they aren't able to push it up. So I always just tell them like we look at the side, or it's really good for any of these bench press variations. It's love putting a camera off to the side and just
Oh,
looking at yourself from the side so you can see what is my arm doing, what's the bar doing, what's everything. And you can adjust from there. So like from the side for a regular bench press, like I said, you should just be like completely vertical. And I always tell them like I want to see the bar stacked over your wrist, stacked over your elbow at the
mhm.
bottom. It should be like one, straight line. And then close grip, because it's close grip, you're going to naturally hit a lot lower on your chest. One thing I read said like upper abs almost even, depending
Oh,
on, how long your torso is or something. I guess it will vary, but
yeah.
it's going to be a lot lower than your regular bench press. And then a wide grip will tend to hit a little bit higher just because your hands are so wide. And also, just side note, ask me how I know, when you do wide grip, lower the bar because you're so wide, you can't reach as high.
Oh, I
And I
see.
can get it
Yeah,
out, but then I'm like doing it, and you're like fatigued by the end of the set. And I go to try to put it in, and I can't get it up into
yeah.
the hooks as high. So yeah, it's like, and then kind of conversely with close grip, you might want to put it up one, like move the rack up one because your hands are so close, you can
Yeah,
reach
that's a
higher.
good
That you know what
point.
I mean.
Yep.
So pay attention to how your rack is set up and how you have like your hooks and stuff where you have them, and depending on the grip, you might want to change that.
Yes.
But that's pretty much it for barbell. Anything else that you thought of or want to throw in there?
So, I'll be curious to
Yay.
know your thoughts on this and what you say, but I always cue people
Yeah.
to drive their feet through the floor and engage their glutes just to generate a little bit more power. Because I mean, a lot of people,
Yes.
if I don't say that, it's just willy-nilly with what they're doing with the rest of their body, but
Yes.
it's so important. Drag your feet through the floor, squeeze
Yeah.
your glutes, everything is engaged, like, it just helps to generate more strength and power, in my opinion,
Yeah.
and, yeah,
Yes.
I feel a difference.
100%. Yeah, I didn't even think about leg drive and stuff, but I'll tell when I tell them too, like, because that tends to be one of the later things that I work on with new people because I'm like, let's just get all
Oh, okay.
the upper body
Yeah,
stuff. So like,
yeah.
but I do tell them like even early on because like you said, like the feet will just do whatever if you
Yeah.
don't if you don't address it. Like all people like they're picking up their foot, they're sliding it
Yeah,
around. Like I'm like, no, 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 like let's find a good spot.
yeah.
And oftentimes I find that if people open their knees a little bit or like open up their hips a little bit more, they're going to be in a way stronger like
Mhm.
stability wise. And I tell them too, I said, when you're on that bench, I want to be able to come up to you. Not that I would ever do this, but I want to be able to come up to you and shove you and you don't move. Like,
Yeah,
I
that's
want you to
good.
be so stable on that bench that
Yes.
you are solid and you are not going to move. Your feet are nice and wide, you're planted. And then the cue we give them for the leg drive is to push through, like their feet are sliding, like push through the toe of their shoe. So it's
Oh,
almost
yeah.
like you're trying to push yourself off the back of the bench, like that's how, and then that like gets everything super tight. And then I'm like, because you said like about glutes, I'm like, don't be surprised. Like when you finally figure out exactly how to use leg drive on a bench press, don't be shocked that your butt's sore the next day.
Oh, yeah,
It's
for real.
crazy. Yeah. Like I
Yes.
know it's a bench press and everyone thinks, oh, it's chest. But like if you really get like solid tension and a really good leg drive, your butt is working. And
Yes.
yeah, you can be sore that next day. So, and
Yep.
I think that kind of goes to like it's these both like the lunges and a bench press, like these are compound movements where we have multiple muscles that are going to be working
Yeah.
in order to perform the lift. Like you said
Yeah.
with the lunges, we're talking about quads, we're talking about glutes, there's going to be some hammies. Like you have multiple different muscles all working to perform the exercise. And so like bench is the same way. People always think it's just chest, but it's not. Like up at the lockout, that's where your triceps kick in. And that's where, and then with leg drive, you got everything. You got your glutes, like it turns into a whole body
Yeah.
lift at that point.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
yeah, good call.
Mhm.
Anything else you can think of?
Breathe. Breathing, don't hold your breath, and I always, like, I use my breath on the exhale to, like, get that weight up too
Mhm.
sometimes, so that's probably the only other
Yeah.
thing, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Big breath at the top, and then we hold coming down, we exhale as we come up. I
Yes.
always tell them, think about it like you're propelling something. Like, I think about like when you let the air, if you were to blow up a balloon and just let it go, the air pushing out is going to send that balloon
Oh,
like
that's a good one.
flying.
Yes,
I'm
that's a
like,
good
so I
one.
want you to think about that, like as you're pushing up, and same thing with squats. Anytime you're doing the hard part of the lift, whether it's the picking up the deadlift, the standing up from the squat, or the pressing of a bench press, like that exhale, think of it like you're propelling the bar like a balloon would propel,
Yes. Ooh, I like that, I'm gonna
and
use
that,
that.
yeah,
Damn.
yeah, that
Mhm.
one, that tends to, people are like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
oh,
I
I
get
get
that,
it. Yeah.
so okay, so and actually a lot of these things we just said would apply to dumbbell too. So we tend to start people with dumbbells over a barbell, I think for obvious reasons, like
Mhm.
just strength for one thing. However, the message that I really want to drive home, because I run into this sometimes with my clients, is everybody should be doing dumbbell bench press at some point. Like even if you are, you can bench 150 pounds and you're on a bar, you should still be doing dumbbell, at least somehow working it into like some of your training blocks. Because anytime we do barbell stuff, whether it's shoulder press or the bench press, both of your arms are working to move that bar, right? So a lot of times what can happen is we can have an imbalance on one side or the other, and our stronger side takes over and does most of the work, and we never realize or we never address the imbalances that can
Mhm.
maybe is limiting how much you can press, but also could potentially lead to injury later.
Yeah.
So doing dumbbell bench, even if you are someone who does barbell bench, is, in my opinion, super, super, super important. And some of the best bench pressers in the world, some of the strongest power lifters in the world still work to progress their dumbbell bench press always.
Yep.
Like that's never a thing they stop doing.
Yep. I agree,
Um,
100%.
yeah.
Always needs to be doing
Yeah.
dumbbell of some sort.
Mhm.
with.
And because kind of like we talked about with the lunges and stuff, like the single leg thing, the dumbbells make it a single arm. Even if you're doing them both at the same time,
Yeah.
they're
Still
both
working only.
working
Yes,
independently of each
exactly.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I
Yeah.
agree.
So that's super important. And the other reason I really like dumbbell too is you can get deeper range of motion. So you
Yes.
can come down deeper where a bar gets, you can't go past your chest, right? You gotta go
Mhm.
through your body. But
Mhm.
with dumbbells, you can get deeper. And so that gets a better stretch on the muscle and can help better like muscle growth and muscle gains. And my son actually is going to be, once he wants to start lifting a little bit more this summer, in
Nice.
between, because he's between his like track season and cross country season. And one of the things he was talking about, he's a teenage boy. He's talking about like he's like, I want to get jacked. Like I want to see muscle and all that. I'm like, okay, then dumbbell it is. Like that's
Yeah.
what we're focusing on is dumbbell.
Yeah.
It's not to say that barbell won't build muscle, but you can get that extra range of motion on the dumbbell that's gonna, I
That's
feel at least will help with muscle growth a
yeah.
little bit more.
That's a good point. I agree.
Yeah. And you can do wide and close grip with dumbbells too. Like you can have, do you ever do, we could just call them hex
I was just gonna bring
presses.
that up,
Is
hex
that where
press.
you
I
bring it?
sometimes, like, you say close grip, but or, like, because there's, like, some people call it tricep press if it's, like, the
Yeah,
neutral, close grip,
right.
hex, like, yeah, together, I don't know.
Anytime the hands are close together, like whatever you
Yes.
want to call it or
Yeah.
whatever variation it is, like that's going to get more tricep.
Yep.
And then you can also do like a wider dumbbell
Mhm.
bench press too. But again, with shoulders, especially with
Yeah.
dumbbells, be really, really careful going very wide with dumbbells because that can put a lot of strain on your shoulder if your shoulders are already unhappy.
Yeah, I have the other,
So,
client that I mentioned earlier with the bar doing, more
mm,
closer grip. With dumbbells, we can still do a little bit, more of, like, the close grip with that, but hex press, we do a lot of hex press because he
yeah.
can get more range of motion and just, it's easier on the shoulder because of he was a baseball
Yeah.
player, so he's, like, had injuries and,
Oh,
like
it's like throw.
yeah, so we have to be careful with what we do there, but yeah, I mean, we make it work with hex
Yeah.
press, so
A lot of times too, neutral grip will work really well. Like if you have one of
yeah.
those bars that
Oh,
they're
yes.
sometimes called a Swiss bar or a football bar, where they have like all the grips different. Like sometimes there's neutral,
Yep.
sometimes they're angled a little bit.
Our
But
gym
if
here
your
has
gym
that.
happens to have one of those,
Yep.
then you can do bench press with neutral grip. And a lot of time that's way less irritating on a shoulder.
Yeah.
And also like you said earlier, you could like build a workout with these. It's super common to do like if you want to do like your main bench press is just a standard barbell bench press or dumbbells. And then you can add in the close grip or the wide grip as an accessory
Mhm.
lift to it. So like it's very common, like my power lifters, they'll get their competition grip,
Yep.
they'll do those sets, and then we'll move into a close grip or a wide grip or a neutral grip or any of those as an accessory to that. So you can do those in the same workout if you wanted to.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good point, I like that. Uh,
Yeah.
I guess one other question that I just thought of, because I think it's a little bit controversial and some people do it, some people not, some people like it, some people whatever. Having an
Mm.
excessive back arch.
The
Just
arch.
because
I
I
knew you were
know
going to
people
say arch.
because I know people
Yeah.
are thinking this, like, well, what, like, the back arch. What?
Yeah.
Tell us.
So, I mean, an arch in general, yes, 100% you should have some amount of arch. That's going to put your shoulders in a much better position. That's going to protect your shoulders a lot better. If you've got your shoulder blades like down and back, like they should be on the bench, that's going to naturally pop your chest up and give you some amount of arch anyway. So
Yeah.
if you're using good bench form, you're going to have some amount of an
Yeah.
arch. And oftentimes when you then also start using leg drive, because you're kind of pushing your butt back toward the head of the bench, that also pops a little bit more of an
Yep.
arch. But like the crazy excessive ones, like sometimes it's just like, man, some people just have a lot more mobility in their spine than others. And like a lot of times when you see it is like with power lifters, and what it does is a super big arch makes less range of motion. So theoretically, you could lift a lot more weight because you're not moving the bar as far because your chest is so high from the
Mm,
arch,
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
So that's usually when I see it come up is they're doing it in an attempt to be able to lift a shit ton of weight. But I think like if we're talking about just general health and strength, an excessive arch is wholly unnecessary. But some amount of an arch to make sure your shoulders and your shoulder blades and everything are in a good position, I personally feel is
Yeah,
necessary.
I think so too. Just keep your butt down. I mean, sometimes like my butt will come
Yes.
up if I'm lifting a super heavy weight and it's
It's
like the
heavy.
last
Yeah.
rep. Yeah. But for the most part, just like feet drive, glutes down and engaged, and then, yeah, make sure
Yeah.
that's a good one too. Shoulders, yes, I will also teach that, like, shoulder blades down and back, and I think about
Mm-hmm.
getting that shoulder retraction and
Yep.
then the because sometimes people will go down and then up and get that forward protraction, shoulders forward. So yeah, always think about
Yes.
shoulder retracted no matter
Yep.
what, and then you're able to work, like, think chest to the bar.
Yeah, I was gonna say the cue we use is chest to bar.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, if you keep chest to bar, that usually keeps them in. And when I'm getting on the bench, I also use the uprights on either side of the rack to help push my shoulders in better
Oh, yeah.
and like really lock me in, and then I grab the bar from there
Oh,
and go.
okay. Yep.
So that's another, it just kind of helps me get those shoulders in. And some gyms have really slippery, smooth benches, and it makes it easy for your shoulder blades to come back out even if you get them in. But they sell there, it's, I can't remember exactly what it's called. I think it got discontinued actually, but it's it's a thick, like almost like a sticky mat kind of that rolls up, and then
Mhm.
you can go with, so that way when you get your shoulder blades on it, everything stays in position. But
Mhm.
a lot of people, instead of that, it's very similar. It's thicker than this, but it's very similar to, you know, that stuff that people put in a cabinet, like the Lina
Oh,
cabinet,
yeah. I
like that
have some.
tacky.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like super cheap. It's just a roll of whatever.
Yes.
Before I got the mat that I have, I used to just keep squares of that in my gym bag. And so you throw that on the bench, and
Oh,
that helps
funny.
make the bench stickier to keep your shoulder blades in.
Yeah.
And I've also seen people that'll strap resistance bands around the length of the bench, like from
Oh,
head
I've
to
seen
toe,
that.
because
Yes.
then that also
That
helps
helps. Mhm.
keeps you stuck on there so that you're not sliding. Because some
Yep.
gyms have really slippery benches,
Yeah.
and it makes
Mhm.
those shoulders come out super easy.
Yeah.
But a couple of tricks you can
Yeah,
try.
I like that. Sweet.
Yeah. All right.
I think
Good to
that's
go?
it.
Anything
Yeah.
else?
I don't think so.
Bam!
I know, look at us. 1 hour, 4 minutes. This is good.
Doom!
Hell yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, if y'all have one, we do plan on doing more episodes like
It's
this
gonna
where
be
we
an
just talk
addition.
about two exercises and their
Yes.
variations that you can, start including in your workouts. But if you have specific requests about something, let us know. We were happy to do what y'all want, because to be honest, then it means that we don't have to come up with it on our own.
Yeah, it's like, all right.
So it's a lot
It's already
easier,
planned
and we
for
know
us.
we're giving you what you want,
Yes.
so feel free to let us know, shoot us a DM, and wherever you're listening, if you could go ahead and give us that 5-star review, that would be really freaking rad, or the heart on YouTube.
Subscribe.
And yes, and subscribe. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, you can even like type out a review for us and tell us how amazing we are. That would be
Super
forever, like
helpful.
so helpful. We would love you forever. You can find us on all of the socials at ubobpod, or you can email us. Our email is ubobpod@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Merch store is in the show notes.
Sweet.
Go get a shirt.
Go get a shirt. Or a
It's
hat. I've
actually
been wearing my hat lately. I love it.
yes, I actually was wearing my hat the other day. It's one of it's on my brain a lot. I keep thinking, I'm like, about different like things I would like to have. Like I would love a cropped t-shirt. And so I keep thinking, I'm like, wait, I need to get back into Printify and get some different styles of shirts and stuff up
Yeah.
into the merch store. So that's definitely been like rolling around in my brain. I just have to like take the next step and actually do it. So
Yes,
hopefully soon
that
we'll
would
have
be
something new.
awesome.
But there's t-shirts, there's hoodies, there's stickers, there's hats. So
Yeah.
already some good stuff up there. So
Sweet.
all right.
Okay.
Until next time.
Remember, you have to hit end.
Oh shit. I'm recording.
I would
I'm
say,
all like,
yeah.
turn it off, Sophia. No. All right. I'm gonna like power.
Power.
All right. We will catch y'all in the next episode.
Bye for now.
Bye.